Good morning to all of you. So we are coming to the last day of our FDP. So first session will be given by Miss Preeti M. So though we are talking a lot of technology in this FDP, this session is slightly different from the usual session, which is a special session recommended by AICTE. So this session, especially developing a technology for startup, is most relevant for the youngsters who are taking lot of efforts towards their research. So in my dream, every research should end up with a startup. Definitely our nation will go to a great height in the global scenario. I request all the participants to make use of this session, especially the honorable speaker of the program, Miss Preeti, is well known in the field of TBI, who is having vast experience. And let me introduce the speaker. Miss Preeti M is currently working as the Chief Executive Officer of the Technology Business Incubator of NIT Calicut. She has guided many startups in the past 20 years in the field of entrepreneurship development. She started her career with entrepreneurship development cell of REC Calicut in the year 2001. She served as the manager of the TBI NITC for 15 years before assuming the career role of CEO. The TBI has extended incubation facility to 79 startup companies so far, and extended to units in different sectors like software, IT, electronics, IoT, rubber technology, including electric vehicle maybe in the near future, etc. The units incubated in the TBI generate employment opportunities for around 1,000 people. Many of incubated companies have attained remarkable growth, 20% success. She is also a certified trainer of Infodev, which is World Bank organization in business incubation. With this brief word, I wholeheartedly welcome the speaker of morning program, Ms. Preeti M. Welcome you, madam. On behalf of myself, on behalf of all the participants, I extend my warm welcome. The dais is yours, madam. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir, for the elaborate introduction. And very good morning to all the participants. This is, of course, as Professor Kumaravel said, a slightly very different session from what we have been having for the program. I suppose we have been having the program for the entire week. Now, let me give you a little bit on the startup scenario, what is happening in India, and the opportunities that you have. And since this is a faculty development program, I assume all of you are teaching in many of the engineering colleges across India, and you have a vast group of technologists along with you, whom you are teaching and whom you have as colleagues. So this session is basically intended to give you some points on finding some of the very innovative ideas that you're having. Of course, it could be with the area that you are in class now, that is electric vehicles, or anything else. Like we have dire requirement of technology and technology based products in India to develop our country into a much higher level, and to make our country an economically strong nation. So we have a lot of activities that is going around us in the startup promotion activities. Actually, being in Kerala, especially, we are proud of being the first state of implementing the student entrepreneurship policy now, which is happening in other institutions and India-wide as well. Many other states have followed the Kerala model of entrepreneurship development, and even in the national education policy and national innovation and startup policy, which is given by the Ministry of Education now, which is again giving a lot of importance for the startups. Now you can see the budget which is happening, going to happen on February 1st, also will be giving a lot of importance for startups and MSME. So now you can understand that the startup and innovative products is something which is going to, lead the technology development and industrial sector of India. Just like any other nation. Okay, so the first to be in the whole world in the area of startup is Israel, which where you can see a lot of technology product development happening, a lot of innovations happening. So we also have of late understood the importance of innovations and startups. That is why, I am here as the TBI's incubation centers as chief executive officer, and many people are there like me in the whole country. So I just would like to give you a glimpse of what is happening in the startup area, and how you can identify your students who have some innovative ideas and who can be the tomorrow's Tesla or tomorrow's Apple, or somebody like that, who will, because all these companies had a small beginning. So probably your students or your colleagues also could be, or even you yourself could be the entrepreneurs of tomorrow. So let me just I have a few slides also. So let me start with my slides, sir. I think I can share my slides, right?
Yes, madam. Please share the slide, madam.
Okay. This is visible to all.
Yes, madam. Yes, visible.
Yeah, fine. Okay. Okay. So basically, what I was thinking of talking to you is about the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Since, of course, you have been in, of course, we are talking about the startups. Since all of you have been listening to the technologies related EV, electric vehicles, and which is actually happening, because by 2030 we are planning to have all electric vehicles only on the roads in India, and government policies are directed towards that, because we are not going to have the fossil fuel vehicles anymore. And there are a lot of government policies, including the 1.5 lakhs interest deduction in income tax for the interest that you're going to give for the loans for electric vehicles, which is already introduced and which is already probably being availed by some of us. Okay, so there are many policies on the government side which is happening, which is happening around us, and many more we are expecting in the coming budget, and the policy is going to be formulated based on that. So we do have some startups in India itself related to the electric vehicles, like most of them, many of them in the two-wheeler sector: Talk Motors, Okinawa, Revolt, Intellicorp, Battery Electric Mobility, and Aether Energy and all, which is basically funded by the top entrepreneurs like Bansal, Tata, and all. So we do have, of course, this is apart from the Mahindra is already having very well into the electric vehicle system, and Tesla going to be there in India very soon. So we do have some startups as well as some big companies which have already put their foot into the electric vehicle systems in India. So we have a very good presence of startups as well. So because of course there was a lot of possibilities for the electric motor vehicle, the manufacturing itself, the design itself, and which is a very upcoming technology. But apart from this, when we check with some of our own, interestingly, I was checking with one of my friend when he going for an Nexon normal petrol vehicle. I was just asking him, why didn't you go for the Nexon EV version? Because of course you have the EV version enough on the road. So, but he was telling, like, I am just doubtful because that person is my friend is a person who travels quite a lot. Like, he travels from Calicut to Delhi and all with his car. So so he was telling, the point he was telling is, like, I am not really sure whether I'll be having, what I'll do with my battery if I don't get a proper charging station in the remote areas. Okay, or charging station is, like, again, you have to go for a 2-hour charging process for your charging your battery. So he was just wondering, like, if I had a battery swapping arrangement somewhere in between, or if the battery swapping stations were very very familiar and very often, if we could find, it would have been really good, because if I could have gone for an EV. Of course, price is another one. Definitely price, as well as these kind of infrastructure would definitely be strong, will be having a very strong network in the future, I'm very sure. So we do have some other some other points also for entrepreneurial opportunities also for related to the electric vehicle, which could be the battery charging stations, battery swapping hubs, or even battery scrapping units also, when you use up a lot of the battery quite a lot. Okay, so because this is again with a future perspective, just like what you have the petrol pumps and all, which we could have the battery charging station and battery swapping hub, because unlike the filling the fossil fuel in your vehicle, the battery charging definitely takes little more time so people may not have that much of time. So on a long travel, probably you might need the swapping hubs also. So there are already some startups started working in this battery charging, battery swapping and all, with their which is connected to their IoT platforms, which we have one startup in Kozhikode itself, Calicut itself, which is related to this battery swapping hubs with their with their IoT platform, wherein you will be able to make use of or rather overcome the difficulty of your sustained charging and sustained travel. Okay, so there are a lot of opportunities which is actually this electric vehicles is giving you in future, related to all these kinds of situations, with all these kinds of problems which is having in front of you, because all the innovations, whatever you have right now, has overcome all these kind of small difficulties, and that is how we are using all these innovations right now. So definitely electric vehicles also is another situation where which we have to which we find a lot of problems right now, which can definitely overcome and come to a normal life, become a part of our normal life in future, maybe not too late. Okay, so just again talking about the startups, what this normal startups normally have, the life cycle is something like this. Like, we have right now, we have of course we have for any of the startups, we have a small starting, then an early stage growth, then a kind of expansion, then later on we have we have the rapid growth of it. Now, as a whole, because this is again same for the technology also, the technology life cycle also is having something of this kind: the perfection side, the starting point, the perfection side, and then again the expansion, and later coming to a maturity level. So we also have, because many startups which have started in the pre-seed stage, or rather pre-seed, we say in terms of money, that is when the startup really, or any of the innovator, raise a very minimal amount of funding in the beginning just to make his idea into a prototype, is what we call the pre-seed and the seed stage. Okay, because for any of the innovator, for making his idea into a prototype level or a minimum viable product level, they require funding, for which we require the seed funding. Okay, there are many agencies which are giving them the seed funding, including their parents or the incubators like ours, or even the small banks and all, which will be normally on either a grant mode, or that is which they don't have to give it back, or a loan mode, which with a very simple interest. Okay, which is normally not an equity or ownership level of participation in the startup level. So we do have a lot of, because for the electric vehicle sector, if you ask me, we have a lot of schemes, especially given by the different governments for the seed funding level, because we KSIDC for just for that matter, if quoting the Kerala situation, we have the government side very much promoting the electric vehicles related innovations and startups at the seed level itself right now. Okay, so we I mean, when we are telling, because again we do have an early stage for the startups, and then going for the expansion where they require the funding from a bigger level of funding from a bigger investor, like which is going into the shares of the company, and which will be, it is not like you are asking, you have to pay the interest and then you get the money and all. It is like the person who is investing also is becoming a part of your company, and he will also have a certain share of your company's ownership, and then giving you enough of money and enough of experience, because normally these are people who are experienced people. Apart from the money, they will be giving the their knowledge and their experiences also to help the companies of help the startup idea developing into a bigger business. Okay, so this is a certain level. When I told you about the startups in EV related to the Tork Motors, Tork Motors is a company where Tatas have invested, they have taken share, and it is that company is in an expansion mode now. So we have different companies, different startups, different innovators going through this kind of a life cycle. The maturity level life cycle, definitely none of the startups probably in the EV sector have come to that, I believe, because it is again now in the expansion stage mostly. So this is normally the life cycle wherein you have to have a lot of support in the very early stage, both in terms of the managerial assistance, the networking assistance, and the funding level. Okay, so we do have a setup where we have in India we have the agencies or associations which are helping this in all the levels of startups, all the different phases of this life cycle. So mostly in the initial level where you see the dip in the graph, the initial level, the government intervention or the public intervention is more, because you don't have there people do not take risk. Okay, so you have you have that orange curve which is going with the dotted line which is going downwards, which is actually denoting a premature failure. That is the which is not going into the growth path, but in the beginning itself failing. That also could happen. It could happen due to many reasons. Like one could be the technology, the wrong technology validation. That is, see, we have so many technologies coming up. Some of them are not taking into a higher level. In fact, you could have gone through many technologies related to the startup itself. Okay, the electric vehicle itself in your previous session. So there are many technologies which have not developed into a growth level and which have just died off in the beginning itself. It could be on the technology side. It could be on the managerial side. Like there is probably a market valuation or market identification of the companies is not good. Now they have not studied the market properly. They have not placed the product properly. Like when you place the product in the proper level, only the people will be able to understand the value of it, and they will be able to adopt the product. So it could be due to various reasons, that is the premature failure happens. So in this stage, because of this premature failure, normally not the private investors will be interested in, because this very early stage, because the failure risk is high. So we have all these government ecosystem which is there for promoting startup, mainly to promote or mainly to support the startups in this dip period, that is the very early stage period, which beyond which if a startup goes, it is easy for them to find out the investors and find out the support from the outer world, because by then they must have already proven in the market, that is they must have already found a proper market, and they must have already got approved by the customers, and then there will not be having much of a problem. So this is the normal life cycle of the of a startup, of an innovative idea. This is this is the different requirements of the innovative the company startup in different phases. So we have to see, when we are promoting a startup, we have to see at what stage it is and what is the requirement properly of that innovative idea, right? As I said, we do have a lot of actions. I mean, we do have a lot of actors in the innovation ecosystem. The regulation, tax incentives, and legal framework is one thing. That is the government side. The government is a major player in the innovation ecosystem. Right now, the boosting in innovation promotion, what we have in India, is basically because of the government intervention in different forms, in fact. So, just I mentioned earlier that tax incentives which is provided for the electric vehicle, that is up to 1.5. This is over and above the normal tax reduction of 1.5 lakhs, which is already given for this ATC and all other forms. So you can have up to 1.5 lakhs deduction in your income tax, apart from the normal deduction for the interest that you're paying for the loan for acquiring a electric vehicle. So again. Okay. So they have, I mean, I'm just giving you an example of the regulation or tax incentives that you can have for your startups. And again, just like that, we have 7 years tax exemption for the profit which is earned by the income tax exemption for the profit which is earned by a startup. So which was introduced in 2016 itself. So we have a lot of promotional activities that is happening on the government side. Then, of course, economy is a big actor that, again, you can see due to COVID and all the different problems that happened in the economy, and because of that, what is happening in the industry. Okay, then universities, and then invention, then the universities, institutional and open source resources that is available for the innovators where they want to go for the new validation testing and all those kind of things for their innovative ideas. The availability of all these things, the institutional open sources, that is, which is accessible resources at the institutional level and testing facilities and all, creates a lot of easiness for their the innovation testing and upgradation and all. So this kind of incubation centers, which is set up in different universities and different research institutions, are actually the facilitators for this work mainly. Okay, the invention promotion. Now, related to the funding situation is a major thing where funding, of course, without money you cannot do the business. So funding is an most important thing for any of the businesses. It could happen in the debt form, equity form, or any of the other different kinds. Okay, mainly the debt and equity are the two different types of forms in which you can raise the money. Debt, as I told, it could be loan, it could be other forms of funds, and whatever it is, like, which you have to give back. And the person who's giving you the money, or the organization which is giving you the money, will not be having any role in the organizational structure, or rather how your company is working. Okay, he just wants to get the money back. Now, but for the equity participation, as I told, what you have, Tata's investing in the Tork Motors, just like that, because Tata's also has a stake in the company, wherein there is an involvement of the investor also in the company. So that is the equity range of equity mode of participation. So actually in India, very recently only this equity, or rather the venture capital, the angel investor kind of investments have gone up. Okay. Earlier, it was mostly on the debt system of funding. Like, if you have a good idea, you make a project report, you go to the bank. If you got to convince the bank, mostly the bank will make you walk at least 1,000 times. and then only they will consider your loan. Then they will have a lot of other questions to ask. Okay, there'll be so many things. And interestingly, we in the initial years of our TBI, way back around 15 years back, what used to happen is mostly the problem is, like, people, especially in the IT software side, when they go to bank and explain about something, the bank people will not, or rather any of the conventional financial institutions will not understand what we're talking, and then they will ask again to come. I mean, especially the newer technology, the conventional financial institutions, their mode of operations is totally different. Okay, so now they have come up a lot. I mean, they've all come forward a lot. Okay, so the funding was a big issue. Now we have a lot of angel investors, lot of venture capitalists, and all come up, which have come up around us. But definitely there is a strict valuation of the ideas which is being presented to them. You can see in many of, if you just Google, I mean, or rather search in the YouTube, you can see a lot of pitching events, videos of the pitching events by many innovators in front of the venture capitalists, that is basically the investors. Okay, so we have a lot of funding activities that is happening around in Kerala itself. We have a lot of funds, like, the TIDE, the Indus Entrepreneurs are there, the Malabar Angel Networks are there, and even from the government side, you have KSIDC, KFC, and all, which is going for the startup systems. And then even we have, the government is forming again a venture capital fund on the government side itself. So with the Kerala Startup Mission, so we have a lot of funding opportunities also there. Then the physical services, like the infrastructure, is another part. Like for any of the new technology, you require a lot of testing and setup where you actually make it. The testing part is more important. Like the new technologies, of course, the other, you must, of course, I'm sure you must have already had a version of your. I'm sorry,
classmate. I remember.
Sir, anything? Sir, any doubts? Hello? Hello? Fine. Okay. I suppose it is somebody talking on the unmuted their mic. Fine. Okay. So for the physical infrastructure, when we say, you must have already had a virtual tour of the testing facilities and laboratories that is available in NIT. And similarly, your institutions also would be having very good infrastructure for the labs and other testing facilities. So what happens is, probably, when a student or when just a pass out boy comes up with some good idea, he may not be having, because it is very difficult to buy a testing facility and do the experiments. Okay, so if he has an infrastructure, if he has a facility which is available to him anytime, it is always good for him, because as and when he has a new idea, when some modifications he makes, he can just walk in and test it, and then make his idea more good. It is always better, right? So what happens is, so this kind of a testing infrastructure, if you're able to provide them, it is definitely the best thing that you can do for them for the technology side development. In the similar way, definitely the startups do not require a bigger office space until they make their business a bigger one, start in the market, selling in the market until they get a traction. They do not actually really require an office or any other facilities like bigger meeting rooms and all those kind of things. So we in this kind of an incubation center, we normally provide is these things. Okay, especially in incubation center attached to a university or research institute, you have the entire facilities available for the innovator, for him or her to use. Okay, so in fact, NIT also provides a lot of facilities to the innovators who are coming here. We have a lot of technical expertise with the faculty and with the students and with the facilities with the laboratories. So normally all these are accessible to the innovators who are coming to the incubation centers, not for NIT only, for any of the incubation centers in India. and abroad also. So this is the infrastructure, physical infrastructure services which is available to them. And then again, the labor pool and education network is something, most, again, an important one. Mostly the people nowadays, when we come across the entrepreneurs, what they're, one of their complaint is like, you don't get enough good manpower. Okay. So manpower is again concentrated more on metros like Bangalore, Bombay and all, but we do have to promote the other cities also. So again, in there also, these kind of associations or these kind of parks which is set up in different parts of the country helps a lot, because when you have a concentrated number of companies, more number of companies in one place, concentrated in one place, it definitely attracts a lot of manpower. And for the manpower also, when you think on the other side, the people requires a facility of switching the jobs if required, and a higher, better environment also. So all these things could be provided by this kind of parks or infrastructure, the other facilities like this, unless they are going for a very big company setup. Then the culture, the interesting thing is, what is actually the incubation, right? It is the normal hatchery, hatching your eggs. And even the other one is, the incubator is like your premature babies being taken care in the incubator, the medical side. Okay, so normally when we started this incubation center way back in 2004, we used to get the phone calls, of course, when we start the incubation center, we definitely newspapers will definitely have the news about that, right? So the normal calls which we used to get is, how much is the price of an incubator? I said, oh my dear, it is not like, we're not selling the incubator as such. Actually, this is, they're talking about the other side of incubator, like, the medical or the hatchery side. So it was really important, because at that time, the people were not at all heard of, or rather, very few have heard of startups, or rather, most of them have not heard of incubation at all. So now, if you ask any of your student or any of the person or rather at least a bit educated person you see outside, if you ask them about the startups or about the business culture, they do have a clear cut idea about what it is. So it's a cultural change. Okay, so but again, this cultural change also is having a problem also on the other side. Okay, because you have a lot of people who will come to you with some premature idea. Okay, then for me, if you ask me, we get a lot of idea discussions. People come for idea discussions every day, not every day, at least one or two every day. So what happens is, this will be mostly not at all workable ideas. So what happens is, in here actually, what as an innovation promoter, what we will have to do is, we have to clearly look into whether this idea is really workable or not. Okay, so I just would like to tell you, but these are the different actors of the innovation ecosystem. Then, why we normally, for all of our techies, I'm also basically a technical side, on a technical side. So being a techie, definitely we all have some problems. This is very much reflected on the innovators who are coming to us for a discussion, or who are generally seen the technical innovators. One is the perfectionism. Then another one is a lack of management inputs, especially on engineer side. Okay, see, I'm also an engineer, so but still, this is something which we find on the technical innovators. Okay, then lack of awareness of financial aspects. See, the basic issue why you do business, or why you go for a startup is basically for making money. So it is very important that you need to have the financial skills, definitely, because if you before you go for any business, we need to have the basic skills of financial management. And definitely the lack of proper management of the team. Normally what happens is, one person will be in one single person will be having all the ideas, and he will be so confident that he'll be able to manage everything. But normally, do not encourage any one-man show, because entrepreneurship is a team spirit, is a teamwork basically. Okay, and definitely it cannot be having too many members also. Okay, now the thing is, mostly in the engineering colleges, what we see is, people will be doing some BTech project, students will be doing some BTech project in groups of 5 or 6 or something like that, and the entire group will come to you. Probably by then they must have added their members also, their other friends also, so it will be a big group of 10 or 12. And when they say that, even when they start, after 1 or 2 months, 1 or 2 people will go, and again some new people will come. So it'll be all messed up. Okay, so definitely we will have to advise them to select the members who are rather, with all possibility, will go ahead with them for a longer time. Okay, and basically it is basically to avoid the conflicts, because more the members, more will be the conflict. Okay, and mostly with the complementary skills. Of course, you need a group, maybe ideally with 3 or 4 people. Okay, and with complementary skills. One person will be highly technical, but at the same time, other person should be able to explain from a customer point of view the business involved in the idea. Okay, so that person could be for the marketing. Okay, and because one person will have to definitely go to the market or go to the investors and all and explain about the business around the idea, right? So that is one important thing. That is a person who can lead the entire team. Okay, the technical person may not be a good leader always. It could be so also. Okay, and again another person with all the financial skills. Definitely there could be people with all these multiple skills. Okay, but the problem is when people starts handling many things, many roles at the same time, initially it would be okay. But when the company grows, maybe 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, and even when they have a lot of transactions, when they have a lot of things to manage, right? It could be the R&D, it could be the customers, it could be the test marketing, it could be anything else, funding, or all these things. I'm sure none of us will be able to manage all the things together. And business is where you require a lot of attention, a lot of involvement, the entire time of yours. Okay, so because you are dealing with money, because you are dealing with people's expectations, because you're the customer's expectation. When you meet the customer's expectation only, your product will be successful in the market. So a proper team of management is always required. So it is for us, for the faculty or for the incubation manager, whoever is selecting or whoever is guiding or whoever is mentoring the students, it is our duty to see that it's a good team. And they do have a kind of management inputs and lack of the awareness of financial management skills and all. Okay, and interestingly, when you go for a perfectionism, we do have a lot of examples of companies which have failed due to their perfectionism. In fact, okay, what happens is they will develop some product. And they will feel that, okay, if they could have given this feature also for that, and again one more feature also for that, okay, then what happens is it will be actually a fat product with many features, but at the same time the cost will be going too high. What normally we advise the investors, innovators, is have a kind of a medium product, then launch it, then see what your market requires, and then add on to that. Okay, mostly with all the technology companies, what they normally do is they first launch only their 80% or 60% of their product. Okay, then they keep the rest of the innovations or rest of the features for their next model. Because the technology companies, any of the bigger technologies companies, what we are expecting them is to come up with new models and new features for any technical product. Okay, so what happens there is what we require they also have to meet the customer expectation for them to sustain. So what happens is, if at all they are not able to find out some new innovations for the next version, they always have a backup. The rest 20% what they have inside, they have a backup, so they can give a new version. So this is something which we have to see. Even when the bigger companies are doing the same way, for the smaller companies, for the startups, they have to go for a via media product and kind of a medium solution which they can launch in the market. Then they can add on, because again there is a price aspect also for this, because with all your features, your product price will go very high for any product. Okay, so what happens over there is you cannot put a very high price in the beginning itself. So with a medium range product, you can charge one price, then you can say, okay, I'm adding this feature also, and then again you can charge a little more. Okay, so then the market feels that, okay, you have got more and more good products coming up, more and more features coming up for this thing, and then of course you need to pay for it. Okay, because you have been paying paying so much for the base version. Now you have an upgraded version, then again you have to pay slightly more. So this is how we have to go for the pricing, and we have to go for the kind of the perfectionism how we need to avoid. Okay, so again, now we have some general problems that is happening. What is happening now? The lack of monitoring. Okay, what is any of us, for that matter, any of us, and even especially the students, you yourself know that from your experience, that if you don't properly monitor them, catch them in between, see what, even related to their studies, see what they are doing, they may not come up to your expectation. They may just go here and there. It's the same case with any of the human beings. So if you have a monitoring system in place, you perform better. So the same way, if you have some kind of a monitoring system, definitely it is a checking for the startup in their journey, and definitely they will be working in a better way. So there could be different kinds of monitoring system. Okay, one is incubators like ours. What we do normally is, when an innovator comes and start their company in the incubator, we have a monitoring system of 6 monthly monitoring. Okay, at the end of first 6 months, we ask them to present their innovations, how far they have gone into, how far they have developed. Okay, first of all, what we do is we ask for a business plan, how they are going to go ahead with their business idea, how they plan their business by the end of the, say, 3 years or 5 years or something like that. Okay, so then again they will have a milestones, 6 monthly milestones. So then again at the end of 6 months, it is easy for us to check whether they have achieved that milestones or not. This happens in the case of people, when the innovators are with people like us, the incubation centers. But if you don't have this kind of a system, of course, I said about the investors, which are going for the startup, which are normally the experienced business houses or experienced business person. Okay, what happens there is, even this person will definitely have a checking on their business, on this business of the startup, on the progress of the startup, for two reasons. One is his money. He has invested his money, so it is his requirement or his need to see that it is getting multifold. Okay, then for the second one, definitely the money will come only from the enhanced operations of the startup. So to enhance operations and to make the startup grow is his requirement. Okay, so both these things. Then again, the cultural change of the people, we have a lot of people coming for the startup now. Then people earlier, we did not have this kind of a good supportive, innovative ecosystem. So that was a big problem. See, our first company, which started in 2002, it's again a software company, had 6 founders. Okay, so 6 of our own students had formed a company in 2002. Okay, in 1 year, 3 of them gone. Why? Because the pressure from their houses, pressure from their parents, pressure from their peer group. What happens is, when, of course, in the initial stage of any of the businesses, they will have problem. They will have difficulty in getting the money, selling their product and all. Okay, so because of that, you will have many people who were your classmates, got placed in very good companies and earning a lot of salary. But at the same time, those who have gone for the business may not have that kind of a good earnings in the beginning. They will be struggling. So parents and from their home also, they have a lot of pressure for, why you see the other person, he's having a lot of money and he's earning a good job. He's having a good job. He's earning a lot of money. But at the same time, you are simply going after all these fancy ideas. So this is a normal thing what happens. So it was a scenario in early 2000 or maybe till 2010. But now the things have already changed. The cultural changes happened. And now when you see that you are going for a startup, or your kids are going for the startups, normally the parents, of course, will not have much of a problem. Okay, then definitely lack of mentoring support is another issue for the startups to fail. See, for mentoring is an important thing, because mentoring, what happens is, People who have gone for succeeded in business must have gone through a lot of mistakes, must have done a lot of mistakes, and they must have paid for it. Okay. So suppose I have done, as parents, we all do that. We teach our children, or we normally tell our children that, see, don't go for that, don't go for this. I have already made a mistake by taking that, so better that you don't go for that. It's a mentoring that we give to our children. It's the same way a mentor normally gives to the startups. They must have already had a lot of bad experiences, so they will try to avoid the same experiences for their mentee startups. Okay, so it's really great if you can identify the mentors for any of the innovators. See, when your students are coming up with some good ideas, see that you are able to, either you yourself can mentor them, okay, or you have some good business people or somebody who have already had a little bit experience on this side to mentor them, so that they can avoid a lot of risk, a lot of failures. Okay, so this is one. Of course, lack of mentoring support was something which was there earlier, but now we have a lot of platforms for mentoring, a lot of agencies for mentoring. We have a lot of management associations who are having a lot of members with them, with enough of entrepreneurial experiences. So we can make use of all these ecosystem for us to promote the innovation startups. Okay. Now, to growth path, for when you go to the growth path, actually we have a lot of factors which are promoting us, which are supporting us. Like, India is the third largest startup hub in the world, and we have witnessed a launch of more than 55,000 startups to date, with more than 3,200 startups raising $63 billion funding in the last 5.5 years alone. Because funding, as I said, it has boosted a lot of, every now and even today I saw it's a Malayalam newspaper, so in the newspaper that some startup raising say 5 crores or 7 crores of rupees in for their group. It's basically from any of the investors or any of the HNIs, high net worth individuals, for their growth. Okay, so we have a very good ecosystem, which India also has gone far ahead in the startup path. We have startups based out of the city. If you can see, we have, of course, Bangalore leading, and we have Delhi, NCR, Mumbai and all following it. And Kochi, of course, in Kerala also, we do have Kochi, a very good ecosystem. We have the cyber parks and info park and all. So basically, a good industrial network also is very, very encouraging for the startups to grow. That is what you can find out in Bangalore, Delhi, NCR, Mumbai and all. Okay. And we have startup funding also. You have Bangalore leading, then Delhi and Mumbai following it, and others altogether contributing to 8% of the startup funding happening in India. This is as per the NASSCOM report of 2017. And you have we have a Startup India portal, which is launched by the ministry. Okay, MHRD earlier, and we have a lot of activities that is happening here. Actually, we have this Startup India. Startup India is a one-stop platform where you have, which is actually restricting the, hindrances and promoting faster growth of the startup in many ways, in fact. Okay, and it promotes a lot of this policy. The Startup India policy is something which was launched in 2016, and accordingly, with the Startup India policy, we have many, around 35, 36 innovation centers, entrepreneurial centers, which is startup centers, which were established in different engineering colleges across India. We had around 16 incubation centers which have come up as a part of the startup policy. And again, we have around 6 research parks, which, like, one in IIT Kanpur, IIT Madras, IIT Bombay and all, which have come as part of the Startup India policy. And following the same path, the Ministry of Science and Technology, Ministry of MSME, Ministry of IT, and all these ministries, different ministries, have formed different incubation centers, startup centers, and then so many things, the BioNest centers and all for the Department of Biotechnology and all. We have many of these kind of centers for boosting the startup growth, which is established in many places, mostly in the educational institutions. Why in educational institutions is basically for the reason which I told you earlier, where the educational institutions already have an infrastructure in place. And definitely we have an underutilization of this infrastructure. Now, if you see only half of your day, half of the day is your lab is being utilized for teaching the students. The other half, the crores worth equipment is being idle. Why don't you open it for the entrepreneurs and innovators so that it will become more effective, it will become more productive? Okay. And again, the funding support and incentives is something which another point which Startup India portal will give you, and simplification of hand holding in the way, like in the sense that we have a good mentor panel which is given in the Startup India portal, which is giving you a lot of mentors on mentors panel, which you can make use of. Okay. Now I just would like you to mention what exactly is a startup, which by definition, it is incorporated in the something which is incorporated in a company which is incorporated in the last 7 years. Of only for the first 7 years, it is called a startup. Okay. Now for the legal status, operating as a private limited company or registered as a partnership firm or a limited liability partnership, LLP. Okay. So now we cannot call a trading as a startup. Okay, we cannot call a shop as a startup. Okay, because a startup should always work towards innovation, development, or improvement of a product or process or services. Okay, it could be service also. Okay, but it could not be a trading, definitely. Or it is a scalable business model with higher potential or employment generation or wealth creation. Ideally, a patentable invention. Okay, ideally, it need not be always. Okay. Now, and again, operating with an annual turnover not exceeding rupees 250 million for any of the financial years since incorporation. Okay. Once it crosses this 250 million, it becomes it cannot be called as a startup. Okay. So just about a little bit on the definition side of the startup. Now, again, coming back to the Startup India Hub, what happens is it is basically as I told, it is a one-stop platform for all the stakeholders of the startup system. You can find incubators there, you can find mentors there, you can find investors there, or everything you can find. Just go to startupindia.gov.in. Then definitely the knowledge bank for startup, it is you can even have a lot of ideas, a lot of technologies being showcased. Okay. Then other partner services like legal and other IPR solutions and all. Then templates could be for business plan, could be for either some other license, obtaining some other license, some different application forms, and again innovation challenges. Probably one of the major thing what you can give to your students is the innovation challenges. Okay, which is floated by many of the ministries or many of the organizations around you. Okay. What basically happens here is, we have a lot of, now recently related to the COVID, we had in last year of 2020, June, July and all, we had many ministries, departments coming together and asking for COVID related solutions. I suppose some of your students must have, or some of your entrepreneurs must have applied for it and got selected for funding. So we also have a lot of companies which have come up with different solutions, not only for COVID, but for other different things also, which I'll explain later. So we have this kind of an ecosystem which is available there. And now you have another most important thing, which is called the National Innovation and Startup Policy, NISP, which is published by the government in 2019, published by the Ministry of Education, where we all come under, and which is actually promoting, at least some of you must be thinking in mind that, I have a good business idea, but being a faculty, I'm not able to go for it. But now you will be able to go for it, because we do have this policy in place given by the Ministry of Education itself, and all the institutions under Ministry of Education is directed to go for it. They have given us a time frame in which we have to formulate our own policy to be implemented in the institute, which will enable the faculty and the students to go for making their own startup, forming their own startup, and working for that along with their job, which they are having, or along with their studies. It is actually giving a lot of incentives for the faculty who are going for the entrepreneurship and for the students who are going for the entrepreneurship. If students can even go for a semester break or a year break and then go for running their startup. Similarly, even the faculty also will be able to go, and even in the sense that the faculty who is contributing even to a startup, which need not be his, okay, who is contributing to the startup, will be able to get some points for the career advancement. Okay, so we have startup enabling institutions infrastructure is being created by this policy. Then again, the product ownership rights, you must be thinking now, if I do something, maybe if it is of some idea which is created by me, the institute might have a claim for it. But if you're going for a startup, the institute will not be having a claim. Only you will be having the claim for that. The IPR will be completely of yours. Okay. And another thing is, we are going to have all these entrepreneurship and innovation promotion in the curriculum itself. Okay. In fact, ministry is asking for MBA entirely for entrepreneurship and to include the IPR and other related papers in the normal core curriculum of the programs. Okay. Different programs. Okay. So now coming just to, of course, Professor Kumaravel has introduced, given an elaborate introduction about me in the beginning. Now, just a little bit to tell about what we do. Okay, we had a lot of companies. We had around 79 companies till now. We are actually working on different schemes of the Government of India. This Technology Business Incubator was established in 2004 with the support from Ministry of Science and Technology. At least many of you also will be having, the incubation centers in the similar way, which is supported by the different ministry departments. Okay. So to say, what you can see in the figures is some of our companies who have grown really well. Okay. We have around 5-6 companies who have employees more than 100. Okay. So we have all these companies put together will be having more than 40-50 crores turnover approximately, which is, they have generated, and maybe of course due to COVID, this year must have been slightly bad, the previous year. Okay. So we have many companies figuring, we had around 79 just to update this figures a little bit. We had many companies graduated again. It is at least 55. It has gone somewhere near to 60 now. And number of current companies is again 22. We have few more to add now. We have just made the selection. Now, again, number of graduated companies, which are not in business, of course, as Sir was telling, we can claim only about 70 to 75% success. Like we tell that the company is a success only when the company is functioning even after 3 or 5 years of graduating, going out from the incubation center. The focus of the incubation centers, which is set up by the ministries, different ministries, will be normally asked to work on a particular thrust areas, which is of their own choice. Mostly what happens is, we select the thrust areas, the host institutions, the institutions where the incubators are being set up will select the thrust area in such a way that wherever they are strong, they will select that thrust area. So like that, and again, depending on their resources also, other resources like, whether the land or the facilities available, the built up area available and all. So we selected the IT and IT enabled structures and electronics as services and electronics as the initial thrust areas. And slowly we have gone to biomedical, agriculture and biotech areas also. So this focus was initially the same, and as I told, we started in the first half of 2000. So 2003-04. So at that time, definitely it was an IT boom. So we had a lot of IT companies and electronics, then slowly changing into electronics, and now slowly changing into the other sectors also, medical side and healthcare side, basically. Okay, not pure medical, not the drug manufacturing or anything, but more towards the mostly towards the assistive technologies, assistive medical equipments and all. Okay. So we have now what we can expect from a normal incubation sector. This is normally same with almost all the incubation centers in India. I'm sure most of you will be familiar with this, but just for the others' sake, I'm just explaining you what it is. The services, the handholding, funding, and infrastructure are the main four pillars of this incubation system, incubation process. That is services in the sense like, it could be legal services, and it is for basically, an innovator coming to us, the first thing he will be asking is, how can I form a company? So there are different forms of registration now. Like if you say Kerala, you can go for K-Swift. You have the different industries department, working through K-Swift for registering the company. Different places it is going to be different. Different states it's going to be different. But altogether we have a framework for, whether we have the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and under that we have the different registration systems. Okay, so we have the legal side taking care of that, and then again we have many problems which is coming into the legal side, like the agreement, partnership agreement, and if you have a conflict between the partners, how to resolve that. You could be a contract which is obligation which you are not able to meet, and even the clients are not meeting their the obligations, and all those things add to the contractual problems. Okay, so all these legal problems, if you need to have a legal panel or legal expert along with you to solve the problems, these kind of problems. And then accounting, of course, the legally includes this IPR also. Then accounting, their normal accounting, they have a lot auditing and all those kind of things. Then technical consulting. Of course, the technical experts in any of the institutions are the main sources of technology consulting for the innovators in these incubation centers. Okay, we also get a lot of help from our faculty for all our innovators. Now it has become a practice for us that whenever we select a company, whenever we select an innovator with our normal selection process, okay, what happens is we try to find a faculty who is working in the similar field and make the faculty a mentor for this innovator. So basically, what we are normally concentrating more is on the product development. Okay, a technology product development. So definitely in such a situation, a faculty consultant is always a great achievement. Okay, he will have a lot of great asset. In fact, he will have a lot of ideas to give to the innovator, of course, from whatever theoretical knowledge he has. Okay, and for the faculty also, it is always good. It is interesting to see how the things are working practically, how it is going to market, and how the market is reacting to these ideas. Okay, so it is actually a practical thing what is happening, and which we can proudly say to our students, okay, see, this is the product, how it works, how this new technology is working. Okay. Then again, managerial consulting, we are the incubation side. On the incubation management side, we do a little bit of managerial consulting, how to formulate their business, how to go to market, how to study the market, and how to find out the investors and all. But of course, we take the help of other mentoring, networking place, also networking agents, also networking associations, also, for mentoring and other things. We do keep a lot of linkages with the local industry associations, our alumni who are in a very good positions, who will come back and mentor the new innovators who are coming up. So we do get that is the hand-holding that I'm talking about. We do get a lot of hand-holding from the alumni side, from industries we are associated with, they do give a lot of business facilitation, that we do give a lot of business facilitation. So some inquiry coming to us, I'll find out some people who are actually working in the similar area, and then we give them. And even in the business facilitation, in the sense like, we give showcasing opportunities for their products, okay, for their services. So because as a part of a premier institute, we get a lot of invitations, or we get a lot of chances for showcasing ourselves. So in turn, this is like showcasing our innovators, showcasing our companies. Then again, training is another thing. Like we give a lot of training for the upcoming innovators in different fields. It could be managerial, it could be technical, it could be on the legal side, it could be on the accounting side, it could be on the statutory requirements. So all these things, we train them in just to making them ready for running a company. Okay, then funding is another thing. Funding I already touched upon in form of grant, loan, and leading to investors. We have a lot of schemes which see actually the different ministry departments of Government of India have a lot of schemes for the entrepreneurs, which are mostly run through the incubation centers. Okay, it could be Ministry of MSME, it could be again Ministry of IT, Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology. All these departments are actually having the grant scheme, the loan schemes and all. See, we have the option to give to up to 25 lakhs of rupees as loan right now what we are having. In fact, we in NIT TVA itself have funded almost 3 crores of rupees to different companies. It could be approximately around 30, 40 companies. Okay, so all these, so on an average, around 10 lakhs is what we have given, approximately. Okay, or 10 or slightly less than that. Okay, so even we have the, of course, if this is as loan, definitely it is around 2.75 crores, which where actually we normally give it for 6% interest. In almost all the incubation centers, whoever is giving the loan, it is somewhat of the similar level. The interest level is similar, around 4 to 5%, 4 to 6% is what they normally charge. Okay, where they are not taking equity in the company. There are different incubation centers also who take equity in lieu of the money that they're giving. So there are different kinds of financial assistance being given. So it is actually an investing, not exactly purely a loan. And we have a grant scheme also under the new Prayas scheme. What we give is we can give up to 10 lakhs rupees as pure grant for the selected students, selected innovators. Last year, we have funded 12 innovators similarly. And this year we have we're just done with the selection. We have around 12, 13 innovators listed for that, and we are in the process of releasing the money. So in fact, 1 or 2 of our student teams also were funded last year. They are just coming up with a project. So even, see, it is purely based on the merit. Not that since they are our students, we'll be taking them. Not at all. We have a selection committee for that matter. Any of the incubation centers will have this kind of selection committee, which is including, I mean, the different, which constitute the, which is constituting different people, different members from different fields. Could be finance side, it could be the industry side, it could be marketing side, it could be management side. So different experts are sitting together and evaluating the proposal submitted by the innovators. So there is always a proper system for all these types of funding and everything. So, and again, apart from these loans, grants and all, we do the work of leading them to the investors. Okay. Then definitely the infrastructure is the most important part. You have labs, office spaces, conference and meeting rooms, training rooms, etc., which is available for the this innovators in the institute, and which is a part of the institute. We normally make it open to the accessible to the companies, startup companies, which are incubated also based on a request basis. So it is like, basically for a new idea which is coming up with an innovator, it is always a good testing bed for them, for their idea, whether it will be really going to work. Basically, the basic idea is, if at all they fail in their business, they will be having minimum loss, because they don't invest anything in the testing side, they don't invest anything on the infrastructure side, and most of the services, whether legal, accounting, managerial, consulting, everything is on a very nominal cost level. Okay, not at the market level for consulting and everything, because you can see the consultants in the normal level, normal industry is very highly paid. But here, we select such people, like we select such mentors that who are ready to give something back to their society once they become successful. Okay, and especially with the alumni and all, they'll be rather more happy to spare their experience and infrastructure. Okay, now we normally have a selection process for the companies. Now these companies, what we go for is basically for a business plan. We go for the business plan, and then we ask them to submit the business plan. What we look for in the business plan is basically their technical feasibility, their market feasibility, and the financial viability of the idea, of the idea which they are going to make it into a product. Okay, then we do have a lot of different level, that is pre-incubation, then that is before their presentation itself, that is before the selection process itself. We will be normally going for a pre-incubation level, where we ourselves from the incubation management side mentor them to make a business plan, and then go for go for making good business plan, and if at all they have any of the technical difficulties in that at that stage, we consult them. We ask them to consult with any of our technical experts and clear all their doubts. Whatever preliminary doubts that they are having, we will clear at that point, and then go for the presentation side. Okay. Now again, another thing is. Sorry. Now again, the other thing is the total. Once they are selected for incubation, what we normally give is for 3 years is the incubation period. Of course, for incubation side, you cannot have the company for their entire lifelong in the incubation setup. Okay, incubation, as you can see in the premature babies case or even in the hatchery side, it is only for a very limited period of time until it becomes sustainable in the open world. Okay, in the open market. Okay, so in the case of the businesses, it is the open market where they are ready to, or rather where they are able to compete with the normal market situations. So what happens there is the incubation we give, normally it is ranging between 1 year and 3 years normally in India, except for the medical innovations where it requires a little more time for the gestation period. Up to 7 years normally it goes. Okay. Now we have a lot of other activities also along with this incubation activities, that is basically the training activities to making the normal business, even the training people, telling them about how to run the businesses, the nitty-gritties of the businesses, how they can go, how they need to go ahead with their financial schemes, and then marketing and all those kind of things. And then we conduct a lot of, at least around 100 people, we normally train them from the institute. We train them for starting their business. And then guidance to entrepreneurs outside the TBI is another thing. In terms of IPR, we have a good relation with the IPR cell of the state government, and then we guide them in obtaining their intellectual property right, and then business plan preparation and all these things is something what we do. And just like many of your institutions, we also have all these student bodies also happening in the very good student entrepreneurship promotion happening in the institute. In terms of this Institute Innovation Council, which is formed under the Ministry of HRD earlier, now the Ministry of MOE, Ministry of Education. And again, we have a lot of funding programs and again training programs and all, which is happening for the students, exclusively for the students. 1 or 2 of our students have obtained funding from the AICTE and MOE for making their product into making their proof of concept design from their idea. And we have a very good IEDC that is happening, and then we have we normally conduct entrepreneurship awareness camps. Then we have other business plan pitching events like interface and all, which is for the evaluation, mentoring and all of the student entrepreneurship. Now we are having tie-ups with Cisco, and we are looking for a tie-up with SAP and all for student innovation promotion basically. So we have a lot of tie-ups with the corporates, and we have ministry funded or ministry guided incubation and innovation cells for the students. So all these things actually is contributing a lot to the vibrant in this innovation ecosystem of the students. I'm sure most of your institutions also will be having similar kinds of situations. Now, actually, I'm sure most of you will be having a lot of, I do have a lot of other things also to say, how to go for the selection, what are the different activities that is happening otherwise with the incubation center and all. But I would just like to break in between for you to ask any questions if you have, else I can definitely continue with the other topics. Hello, sir? Hello? I hope I'm audible.
Good morning, ma'am. Is it audible?
Yes, it is.
Ma'am, I'm Sheila from Tyagaraja Polytechnic College, Salem, Tamil Nadu.
Good morning, ma'am. Tell me.
Kindly, could you elaborate could you able to elaborate the role of industry in technical education?
Yeah, sure. Just like what I said, technical education, we have a lot of examples already set up. Okay, industries can have different kinds of role in the technical education. If you ask me about the innovation promotion or joint research and innovation promotion. We have good examples of SIC, which is happening in the IISc Bangalore, then Research Park, which is there in IIT Madras, then where in all these places, we have very good industry participation. We have big industries which have come to the campuses, set up their businesses or set up their activities there, set up their collaborative researches that is happening there. Okay, so actually all these things are contributing a lot, because when you are having this kind of setup in these universities or institutions, what happens is it actually boosts a lot of collaborative research. Okay, so it could be leading to a new technology development, it could be leading to a new product development, making use of the knowledge available in these institutions. Actually, it is a win-win situation for both. For the industry, it is actually contributing, giving them a lot more good ideas, which have been only on the academia, and actually which is getting practiced, or which is actually getting materialized for the industry, in the form of new products or services, new technology. On the other side, for the faculty, I told you, when we select some small companies, we try to identify a faculty in the similar area who can work along with them or who can mentor them. So what happens on the other side is the faculty on the institute side, the person will be academician will be having a chance to implement his idea or to implement his knowledge in the product form, and he can see it actually going to the market. So it is actually giving him a lot of confidence. It is actually giving him a lot of satisfaction, okay, which can actually promote or rather make the technical education more fruitful. Okay, that's one thing. And if at all, we have a lot of industries now coming up with their problem statements, which normally they give to the students for finding out the solutions. So for the students, say there will not be any formal collaboration or formal setup being facilitated in the institute and all. They just give the problem. They watch on how the students come up with a solution. Okay. The student then what happens over there is the students will be able to know more about what is happening in the industry. Of course, some of the faculty also will be involved in finding out the solution. So in such cases, what happens is the students are learning more about the industrial problems and actually working hand in hand with the industry. So this also is actually contributing a lot. Now again, we have a lot more other avenues wherein industry also can contribute, like when our curriculum could be actually modified along with the industry needs, which is actually making the people ready for the industrial purpose. The students ready for the industrial purpose. So again, there could be sponsored researches, which is actually happening. So all these things, what actually is the benefit for the academia is you're actually working on a real problem, real situation. The world situation is what we are understanding apart from the theory. So it is actually, it is a great, so these are different avenues of industrial academia interaction that can happen, and how the institute and academia as well as the industry can benefit. See, when the industries go for stating a problem and asking for solutions from the student community or from the academia, what happens is they are actually getting different kinds of solutions. It is as well as good as a brainstorming session. Okay, or even more, in fact, because you get a lot of good ideas, a lot of fresh ideas coming from the fresh minds, okay, which could actually lead to an altogether new product itself. Okay, madam, I hope I answered at least a part of it.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Your answer is very clear, ma'am. And your session was also very clear, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other?
Good morning, madam. I am Dr. V. Gnanamurthy, Anna Institute.
Morning, sir. Tell me.
Your session is very highly interesting. So
thank you very much.
My question is, what is the difference in startup and entrepreneurship? This will be closer or will be different?
Startups and entrepreneurship. That's what you asked, right? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Now, actually, startup is always an entrepreneurship, but always the entrepreneurship need not be a startup. That's all. How it is startup, as per the definition, I told you that it is something which is in the 7 years, that is in the inception, within the 7 years of inception. We call it a startup, a company, a startup. An entrepreneur is basically somebody who solves a new problem, who gives a creative solution to a new problem, creative solution to a new product, requirement, idea, and all. Okay, that is the difference between the normal manager and an entrepreneur. Okay, so actually anybody, even the tried out businesses or the bigger companies can have this entrepreneurship in them. Okay, they might go for new ideas, they might go for new businesses, which is actually being part of their company. Now when you ask me, when I in the beginning itself I told you about the startups in the electric vehicles, right? I did not mention Mahindra there. Why? Mahindra is again entrepreneurship, but you cannot say that it is a startup. Am I clear, sir? Yeah, fine. Okay. Entrepreneurship is something which you are actually thinking in a new way, a creative way, a different way than somebody else has been doing. Okay. Creative solution to the problem. Okay. It need not be a startup. It need not be a new company, or it need not be a startup as per the definition. Startup as per the definition is something which is new, which is young, with the company which is young. Okay. Within 7 years of its inception. Okay, right, sir?
Yes, madam.
Yes, sir.
One more question.
Please.
What is the main theme of the incubator center? It should be close to the contact, help the startup, or will be business the startup?
Could you ask it once again? Not very clear.
The incubation center, will develop the startup, or it will be help the startup to carry out the limited company? Like that.
What I understood from your question is, what is the main focus of the incubation center?
Yes.
Yeah, fine. Okay. So basically, the incubation center is set up for handholding, for monitoring, for assisting the innovator. Okay. First, who is in picture is the innovator, somebody who is having a different idea, a unique idea. Okay, these incubation centers are normally catering to some new businesses, some unique businesses, unique ideas. Okay, not for the normal tried out established ideas. Okay, so what happens is, normally you cannot find an incubation, you cannot find a unit which is making an automobile tire. Okay, tire in the incubation center. But at the same time, you might find a company which is Sir, am I audible? Hello. Yeah, I just had to switch my device as my battery got drained out for the laptop. I hope I'm audible, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
ma'am. Fine. Okay, just to answer your question, the incubation center is actually concentrating on the unique idea-based businesses, which wants help. Okay, there will be some big businesses, just like the big business houses which are starting for the new businesses, where they do not require a mentoring or do not require a hand holding, but there will be individuals or teams which might need different requirements. As I said, in terms of funding, it could be in terms of infrastructure, it could be in terms of mentoring, it could be in terms of managerial assistance. So incubation centers are concentrating on those individuals or those teams which require the mentoring, their financial assistance, their other infrastructural requirements. So what happens there is, actually their incubation center is trying to cater to all these kind of requirements, and there actually the focus is mainly on the idea what the innovator is doing. Okay, first. Because there we have to test the idea, we have to validate the idea technically. There is a market for it. It is financially viable. That is, it can be made profitable. Okay, so all these things we have to incubator center will have to validate first, and then the required assistances for the innovator. Did I answer you, sir?
Yes, madam. Really, thank you. I enjoyed it.
Anything else? Anything else you want?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Hello. If you don't have any other questions, I don't know, because since this was a faculty development program on a pure technical topic, I'm not very sure if it was really a value addition by this session. So I was just trying to explain the startups related to different fields, how a startup's ecosystem is functioning to boost the industrial promotion or the innovation promotion in the country. We have a lot of factors for this particular purpose in the country, and we as faculty, we will have to make use of this system and promote because we as faculty, we are having the most vibrant technical resources with us in the form of students, in the form of our colleagues and peers, and even in the form of the laboratories and other assets. Okay, so all these things we have to make use of the best way, and we have to come up with, help people coming up with new innovations, because that is what is required for our country now in the present day, and which will lead our country into a bright future. Okay, so thanks a lot for giving me this session. And I hope I have conveyed at least a few points to you, even though it was not very much in line with the technical sessions that you had previously. Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Kumarvel. I think I am done with, if there is no other questions.
Okay, ma'am. So there is no questions, ma'am.
Yeah.
So let me directly enter into my duty. Vote of thanks.
Okay.
behalf of Department of Electrical Engineering and AICTT expresses its sincere gratitude to Mrs. Preeti M for accepting our invitation to be a part of online FDP and spending his valuable time and effects for educating the faculties, research scholars and students from various colleges about the developing a technology for startup. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you very much for all the participants, for a patient listening for the 1.5 hours and asking some very brilliant questions.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure, my pleasure, to spend the time with you. And thank you very much to Dr. Kumarvel, the organizer of the FDP, also for inviting me for this session. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.